Let's talk about Kanban. Kanban was invented by Taiichi Ohno in the early 1950s as part of the Toyota production system. The Japanese word Kanban can be translated to English as signboard. It can also be thought of as a signal card or visual sign. The idea of a Kanban came from an American supermarket when Ohno noticed that it was a place where the customer could get what is needed at the time needed and the amount needed. In other words, the supermarket is a place where someone can buy according to need. Ohno identified 7 kinds of waste that impact throughput and efficiency of a production system. One of those was inventory. In a supermarket, inventory is managed just in time. Empty spaces on the shelf indicate to the clerk that those products need to be restocked. When the clerk pulls the inventory from the stockroom, the result is a visual indicator to the stockroom manager to order more inventory from the distributor. This could flow upstream all the way to manufacturing, thus representing a pool-based system for just-in-time inventory control. So from the perspective of the Toyota production system, a Kanban is simply a signal card used to notify upstream nodes of a need in a downstream workstation. When the term is used today from an Agile perspective, it is usually referring to the Kanban method. The Kanban method was introduced by David J. Anderson and first implemented at Microsoft in 2004. It extends the idea of a pool-based system using a Kanban card to a method for evolutionary change. It establishes 6 practices: visualize the workflow, limit work in progress, manage flow, make policies explicit, establish feedback loops, and improve collaboratively, evolve experimentally. So now let's talk about using Kanban to manage your workflow using a visual work-in-progress limited system. You can start with what you know by visualizing your current process as a series of steps that a work item transitions through. For example, a basic software development item might transition through design, development, and test. We would also include ready and done to indicate the non-work in progress states at the start and end of the process. Next, we can assign limits to each of the identified work in progress states. Also known as WIP limits, these values designate a maximum number of items that can be in a particular state at any given time. In order to optimize flow, we want to minimize the number of items in progress. Work items move across the board from left to right, but we read the board from right to left. Let's begin with the case that the number of work items in any active state is less than the designated WIP limits, which is optimal for continuous flow since nothing is blocking items from moving between states. As time passes, perhaps the testers begin to run into issues and are unable to make room to pull more work from the developers without exceeding their WIP limit of 3 items. At this point, it is better for the developers to help the testers catch up, resulting in completed work flowing to the customer sooner. So we've covered how you manage flow by visualizing the workflow and limiting work in progress. Now let's talk about explicit policies, feedback loops, and evolutionary improvement. Policies are simple but well-defined descriptions of how the team works together and should enable self-organization among the people running the Kanban system. They are agreed upon jointly between all parties involved, including stakeholders, customers, and team members. The policies should be transparent and visible to all. From the perspective of workflow in the previous example, they help the team know what it takes for a work item to move from one state to another. Examples include definition of done and definition of ready. Feedback loops provide the data that can be used to continuously improve. They strengthen the team's ability to learn and evolve. Examples of feedback loops in a Kanban system include the board, metrics, and regular cadence meetings. In Kanban, you start with what you know and agree to pursue improvement through evolutionary change. Feedback and metrics are key to guiding the team through this change. Experiments are used to test improvement ideas. Since the experiments are designed as safe to fail, the changes can easily be rolled back if the results are not what was expected. And finally, remember, Kanban is not a methodology or a process framework. Instead, it is a method that can be applied to an existing process or way of working.